Come on, it won't start again. Okay, I'm just playing now. But the other time it really didn't start and it wasn't fun and it wasn't cheap either. Okay, let's do it. Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I wanted to tell you about something that no one really talks about, which is problems with modern 1000cc sport bikes. Either when you ride them on the street or on the track, they are problematic and I really regret buying ZX-10. I wish I stayed on a 600 like this one. And if you are in similar situation right now, wanting to upgrade to a 1000cc bike, after watching this video, you'll have a real idea of how it really looks like, what are the pros and cons of owning a 1000cc bike, so that you'll think twice before spending your money. As you can see, the 600 is broken right now. It's not my fault actually, it's my friend's bike. But I've also borrowed it in 2025 and they've crashed it on the Pannonia Ring. Then I repaired it to a perfect state and needed to borrow it one more time for the Brno Circuit track day because my bike was broken the whole time, and that's what I want to tell you about. But finishing up this story, after I came back from Brno Circuit, my friend, the owner of this bike, took it to Slovakia Ring and crashed it in a silly way, so that's why it's broken. And before I tell you why I regret so much moving to a 1000cc, first let me introduce myself so that you're kinda aware of who I am, not, some kind of crazy guy out of the internet. My name is Mike, I'm a professional motorcycle racing instructor from Poland. I've been riding bikes my whole life, and since 2014 I've been practically living on the tracks, moving from one track to the other in my race van. And since 2019 I've been coaching other riders as well, both on and off the racetrack. Since the beginning of my track life, I've ridden all kinds of 600 bikes that you can think of before thinking of upgrading to a 1000cc bike. In 2020 and 2021 I've tried CBR 1000 WR and the Yamaha R1 before deciding to buy this ZX-10 in Ireland, because it's still one of the best bikes out there right now among other liter bikes when it comes to reliability. So why I wanted to move to a 1000cc bike in the first place? I had actually two reasons. One is a smaller one and the other one is big one. So the smaller one is that I really wanted to feel, that push, that power of a liter bike coming out of the corners. I was intrigued of how it feels in real life to own a 1000cc bike. So that was the smaller reason. And the biggest reason was that I really hated when people on liter bikes on big circuits flew by me on the straights and then blocked me in the corners and on the braking points. I really hated that. I know it's might be some silly reason for some people, but I really hated that and wanted to, upgrade to a 1000cc so that I don't have that problem anymore. So the reason why I regret buying this bike is between the pros and cons that I will tell you about now. So yeah, the first thing that it gave me from the good things is that now I don't have that problem anymore. People don't overtake me on the straights anymore, blocking me in the corners. So yeah, I enjoy this fact because it's something that I wanted to change because it irritated me a lot. The second good thing is that this bike is much newer than my 600s were, because I've owned old Gixxers and similar bikes. So this one is much more fresh in terms of design or how you call it, in ergonomy. And yeah, I can feel it because I can find my position much better on it. It handles much better, it turns much better. I just like this bike much more when it comes to the overall feeling of the ride. And another good thing is that the ownership of this bike, so the actual riding, is similar in price when it comes to the parts. Yeah, so it burns same amount of fuel or almost same amount of fuel as a 600. It uses the same amount of brake pads. Even the tires, of course, the rear tire is a bit wider, so it's a little bit more expensive. But when it comes to the lasting of the tire, how long it lasts, it's very similar. So that's not the real problem. I enjoy it because I was surprised that it doesn't, eat more tire than a 600. That was my biggest, concern about riding a liter bike. But that's about it when it comes to the positive things, because now we have to go deeper into the negatives, which really make me very regret this decision of moving up. So the first thing is the lap times. I am only about really 2 to 5 seconds faster on this bike than I was on the 600 for one big reason, because instead of riding the bike, I've spent a lot of cash. Like, this bike cost me like 4 times of a 600 bike price. Then it broke and I needed to put half of what I paid for it back to the bike again, because it was broken. So to fix it, I needed to put a lot of cash, and because of that I really couldn't ride too much on this bike. I was wasting, time on the repair and of course the money, instead of actually riding the bike. So my conclusion is that I am not really much faster on this bike because I didn't have enough practice. And now when I think of it, I would rather have much more ride on my 600 bikes, even very cheap ones, like a Gixxer that is worth like 1/5 the price of this bike, and I would be still faster than both on the Gixxer in the past and probably faster than on this bike, because instead of riding it I was repairing it. So I really hate it, because I've lost a lot of track days, borrowing bikes, etc., because this bike was broken and I even sometimes couldn't afford to fix it. So the biggest problem of owning a liter bike is not, the normal cost of operation, because it's quite similar to a 600, but the biggest problem is that on a 600 of any kind, apart from the R6, because it's delicate as hell as well, but a Gixxer 600, no matter which year you buy, the ZX6R or the CBR 600RR, you can make like 100,000 kilometers on the track on this bike, not even mentioning riding it normally on the streets, and it never blows the engine. It's very reliable. And of course there will be people that will state in the comments that I had a 600 and I've lost the piston or something. It's not really that typical for a 600 bike to break in that way, that you have to put so much money. Why those liter bikes, they don't really last long. They are very strong, but they last really short amount of times on the engine. It's like you buy it and the moment you fire it up for the first time, it actually can blow up right away. By the way, you can type in the comments what bike you have right now or you want to buy, so we can talk about it in the comments, how long it will last and so on, because after so many years riding the bikes and seeing them on the paddock, on the racetrack, I can tell you straight away which of them are more problematic and which are less. So feel free to write your model in the comments. I will respond to it. Most of the current liter bikes are really delicate, and really that's what pisses me off. That's what I wasn't, I won't say I didn't know about it totally, but I was supposing that by buying this Kawasaki, which is supposed to be like the better of all of them in these terms, I thought it will last longer and that I won't have to repair it and that it costs so much. I'm just more aware about it now, and if I were to choose one more time, I just wouldn't buy it. I would stay on a 600 and enjoy it, because I still, after so many years of riding liter bike, I've tried 600s, and apart from the fact that it still irritates me when someone overtakes me on the straight, now I've got a bit different approach, because I still like those bikes. I like how they turn, I like how they are fast in the corners, and now I would probably have another, let's say, thinking of all of this, so that I would try to be better on the bike, to screw those straight line guys in the corners even more, to piss them off. And that's how I would do it. I wouldn't buy another liter bike, for me, at least for now, when I have a lot of cash and it doesn't bother me. But for now, I think it's just not worth it, because it doesn't give you too much, especially if you don't ride quite often and you just don't level up your skills. The bike won't make you faster, or maybe it will, on the straights, but overall you'll just spend a lot of cash on repairing it. So my final thoughts, my advice to you about this matter is, if you own a 600, it can be very old one, it doesn't matter what kind of bike you own, because you can be as fast on any of them as long as you have more practice. So just instead of upgrading your bike, upgrade your skills by riding more and not spending your cash on repairing, bikes that the engine costs like 10,000 euro to fix, while for this price you can buy like 3 another whole 600s you can ride, not to mention how many track days, tires and fuel you can buy. It's just not worth it in my opinion anymore. I wouldn't even think of buying another liter bike for now. And that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. And if you've got any other ideas of what I can make a video about, please inspire me in the comments, write it down, because I'm dedicating this year 2026 to the YouTube channel to make it grow as big as possible, to be able to share with you all my experience and all my future adventures of racetrack riding and so on, and take you with me to many beautiful places together. Please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel not to miss the future content. Thanks for staying till the end and see you in the next one. Cheers, Mike.